Welcome back to Spiritually Connected with Tanya Lee. Hey, I'm your host, Tanya Lee. Today's guest is Miss Anne-Marie Evans, a beautiful energy and someone I am so proud to call my friend. Anne-Marie is a light worker and healer of soul. She has memories of seeing spirit at a very young age. However, it wasn't until the passing of her father that she truly tapped into her gifts as a psychic medium and really turned the taps back on. Today, Anne-Marie's mission is to help others in their journey to remembering their true, authentic selves by healing themselves so they can live happier, healthier, and more fulfilled lives. Anne-Marie teaches, man, this girl teaches a lot of stuff. Anne-Marie teaches others how to tap into and recognize their intuitive and psychic abilities through Reiki, meditation, yoga, and psychic mediumship. She has a passion for helping open, expand, and raise consciousness of the collective through workshops and events. Anne-Marie is also the founder and president of the Kula Sisterhood. Ooh, that sounds cool. Community bringing together like-minded women to help heal, grow, and rise together. Ooh, her motto is to heal yourself, heal the world. Ooh, let's chat. Please welcome Miss Anne-Marie.
Hello.
Hi. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored that you have me on here with you today.
Yeah. Do you know, I'm gonna say this. You know what? You and I have known each other for 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. Yes, is that
Oh my
fair?
gosh, has it been that long
I
already?
think so. I think so. Time passes so fast.
Yeah, time's a funny thing for sure.
It
But
is.
yeah, it has been a while, definitely.
And here's the interesting part. And I think this goes along as we get older. We're in the same arena together. We do the same events together, and yet I love your energy. We aren't that super close, yet anytime anybody mentions your name, I'm going, oh, I love that girl. I love that girl. There's just that. Just that knowing of being with somebody that you don't have to know, you just have to have their essence, and that's how I feel about you. I'm super a girl crush. Is that right? No, I don't know.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. Well, I definitely feel the same way. You know that we did talk a little bit about feeling each other's energy. We may not know each other very well, and it has been a long time. You would think we'd know each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
But definitely the energy when you're in the room or when we're in the same, event or whatever it may be, I feel the same way. And so honored when you asked me to be on your podcast for sure. It made me super happy.
Good. I'm and I want to know more about you too. And I love being able to do this because this does get me to knowing other people. And you were one of the first people on the list that I wanted to hit up and get to know more, because I can.
I love it. I love it.
So, Anne-Marie, let's start. How did you know you were psychic? Because I knew you knew when you're like 2 or 3, but then you shut it off for a while.
I did.
So tell me more about that.
Well, the funny thing is that as I think a lot of us intuitives kind of go through is we go through this really down, dark side of our life where something happens that shifts within us that brings us to the side of, the work that we do and all these things. For me, I was extremely lost. I was kind of in a depression, but not really in a depression. I was kind of like, what the heck am I doing on this planet? And it was just this fog that I had over me. I needed some guidance. And so I had my very first interaction with a medium who, at that time, she was bang on in everything in my life. It was like she was in my head. She knew everything about my family. She knew everything about what I was feeling. She just knew all of these details of my childhood and so on. And I was just shocked, like, oh my gosh, this girl's good. She knows everything about me. And then she says, you do what I do, right? You're a psychic medium. And I thought she had lost her mind. And I was like, okay, well, this is the one aspect of this entire reading that I do not resonate with, even though deep in my soul, I knew, but I was in denial, as a lot of us are. And she pretty much just said, be ready. You're going to be going through an intense spiritual awakening. And it was literally less than 6 months later when my dad passed, when I just started to experience, it was like every day was the same, like nothing changed, but all of a sudden everything was different. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't describe it. And I kind of felt like I was going crazy. And then I started having memories flash back in from my childhood of the memories from 2 or 3, which I thought I was making up actually for a really long time, until my cousin, who's 10 years older than me, just out of nowhere, and I say that with quotations because nothing's random, right? He kind of just reminds me of these events that I thought I had made up. And so he was like, do you remember when you were 2 or 3 and I was babysitting you? And he just goes on into the story, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so that is kind of when these light bulbs started going off, and I'm like, okay, there's too many things happening, too many coincidences or synchronicities, if you will, that I just couldn't deny it. And so that's when I seeked mentorship to really learn and understand, because we're not taught this in school. So I needed some guidance, and I'm so grateful that I seek that, because now here I am living my best life, really.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And you're a meditation teacher, you're a yoga teacher, oh my gosh, like the sky's the limit. You're a Reiki teacher. What other kind of teacher are you? What do you do? What's going on?
I am passionate about, I do the intuitive guidance readings. I do the mediumship readings. I'm there to support when I can and however I can, but I'm a firm believer in, it's that whole quote of, how does it go again? Giving the man the fish and feeding him for a day, or teaching him how to fish and feeding him for a lifetime. So I love to teach people how to, I know you believe the same thing. Everybody has these innate gifts. And if I could just teach them how to tap into their own innate gifts and to trust in that, and to be able to understand how that works, instead of, turn off whatever Hollywood's taught you and relearn everything.
Yes.
That people can really, come from that darkness that I've been in, whether it's darkness or not, or maybe it's just a sense of boredom or lack of contentment because you're not really sure what I'm doing here, to really diving into these gifts and being able to feel what I feel, and being able to come from where I came from without needing me to give them a story through a reading or whatever it may be to make them feel that, right? So that's my biggest passion, really. And there's so many scopes around that. Like you said, I'm a meditation teacher, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a Reiki teacher. There's so many different modalities and ways to tap in, that it's like, what's calling you? Because there's so many different avenues and ways and directions you can go into when it comes to the woo-woo world, right?
Yes.
That I'm kind of like a sponge. I love it all. So if I can learn something, I'll teach it right away. And so I'm kind of all over the place. I'm a Jill of all trades almost, if you will.
I love that. A fellow Jill of all trades right here. Getcha. Feel it.
Yes, right.
And so you know what? Here's the thing about I want to talk about this more, because I love the whole healing aspect. I love all that. You do Reiki, and as anybody's heard on my podcast before, I have a hard time with it. So hear me out. And when I say this, is in my early 20s, somebody mentioned Reiki to me, and they talked about it, and he was a shaman. And so I trust that. And he's like, all Reiki is garbage. And I was like, what? Like, you're going against everything I believe. And so then that kind of, if I preface it a little bit better, what he was saying is that as it's moved into Western world, that the Western world from its original teachings has been, for lack of a better word, bastardized. And so from that, I didn't tap into it deep. Like, I'm going, oh no, I got to stay away from Reiki. And that's been my whole life like that. And I love my Reiki friends. I think they're great. I think there's healing energy there. I'm like, yeah, you go. And I'm backing up, right? Like, and yet I'm their biggest cheerleader. So same thing. I knew you did Reiki, and I've heard tons of people say how great you are at it, and how calming you are. And I still have that little niggly part. So that's, I think, honestly, that's what holds me back from that aspect. So how do you work with people that, like, I'm not a naysayer, but how do you work with people that have the feeling of, oh, that doesn't work? I want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's very interesting that you speak about that, because I am a firm believer that we are in an infinite potential, limitless universe where, if something puts a cap on our growth or our expansion in some way, then there's something that is blocking me, that isn't my authentic self, that isn't my true nature of who I am as a divine co-creator. And so when there's these fears that come in, or maybe disbelief, or whatever is limiting you in really getting into that Reiki world, if it is something that you believe in when it comes to energy and the effects that it can have on people. I know you feel that, but obviously there's that resistance there. And obviously the good news is that you know where that comes from. You remember, you have this memory. And so from that memory that you have, it's kind of like even just recognizing the energy that you were in that space when you learned that, and understanding what part of that belief system is limiting me in something that can be so amazing and so beautiful, and whatever it may be. When it comes to people coming to me for the session, whether I've kind of had people on all spectrums, they're firm believers, they're curious about it, they're kind of hesitant, and you can't deny energy, right? And I feel that anytime I have someone in front of me that comes to me, they're meant to be in front of me for a reason. The energy has propelled them into my space, and here we are working together. And what I realized at the beginning of my practice, I will say, when I first started Reiki, I was a little bit of the person that didn't have belief in it. I believed in energy, I believed in all that stuff, but I was skeptical in my own capabilities of tapping into that, of if it really worked, all of these things. And what I realized is that my practice became so much better, and just the feedback even from the people that I worked with, when I said, what the heck is wrong with you? Change that, because that is a low vibration.
That's right.
Shift it to a higher vibration, which is belief, surrender, let go, have faith. And when I started doing that, I can't, like, just the testimonials or the way people were feeling after literally shifted with the energy that I shifted. And so that was proof in itself that energy really is real. And depending on what kind of energy you're tapping into, whether it's low vibration or high vibration, it's kind of just your GPS system, if you will, if you're tapping into the right energy. Because as we know, darkness cannot come in when the light is shining bright. It's when we feel those low vibrational energies that maybe we can invite a little bit of more lower vibrational stuff, right? So I don't give energy to being worried if my clients don't believe me or don't trust in it. I just have faith in it. And that's changed everything in my whole practice and just the way it's been going, like, since I started.
I love that answer. And you know what? I've had a few other Reiki people on the show, and I've never really thought about it. I trust spirit to know where to take me, where to guide me when I'm talking to people. And I've actually never shared, maybe two people, I've shared it with two people. So I just felt compelled to share it with you. And I love that. And I think that's amazing. So I think that it's all things divine. I believe in synchronicity is no coincidence. And so I think it was meant to be, because I think that you gave it the best analogy for that is to give it no energy on the energy spectrum. So it was a great answer. Great answer. I love that. And I love hearing that. And you're absolutely right. Tapping in is the best thing for it. So.
And I just want to share one last thing in regards to that. For anyone that might be listening that is a skeptic of it, all I would say for any advice in that regard is to just stay open and willing. Stay open and willing, and stay curious and interested, and kind of release some of that skepticism too. And just, what's the worst that can happen? Nothing changes. Okay, I feel the same way I did before, but at least you're open, because when you're open, you're more susceptible to, like, feeling that energy rather than blocking it, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
And that goes in line with everything that we do that is woohoo.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it really does. So we could validate, or we can have a better feeling or whatever that looks like. And you're right, it's all about vibration. So I love how it comes full circle, for sure. So what is some things that you are working on right now? Like what's going on? I know you're a busy girl. You've got a ton of things on the go at any given time. So what are some things that you're working on?
Well, I think one of the biggest things I'm working on right now is the Kula Sisterhood that you talked about when you introduced me. Not only am I all about teaching, and I feel like when I teach, I can hit more people at once to help more people, within the time that I have and the energy I can give out. But one of those things is also bringing those people together as a community, because I know through my own journey, when it came to learning and understanding and not feeling like I was alone, not feeling like I was a little bit crazy, understanding that there's people that resonated with me. The sisterhood is all about that. It's all about growing together, learning together, rising together, just feeling supported and inspired, and like you're part of something bigger than ourselves, which I think we all kind of yearn for, right? So because this is such a new thing, that is really where my focus has been. and just seeing where the future of that goes. Because I would love for it to be international one day, and that is the main goal with that. So,
I love
yeah.
that. So there is something holding you back with regard to that. You recently had a bit of an accident, like, but it
Yes.
really affected you. Are you open to talking about that? Because
Oh,
my heart
yeah,
went out to
absolutely.
you when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, she okay?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, hon. Yeah. It has, I haven't been working very much. I'm actually just starting to pick up clients again and things like this. It's been, oh gosh, how long? Almost 2 months now, actually. And ironically enough, my accident happened on our very first Kula Sisterhood event of the year.
Of course.
But I was blessed with a concussion. And I always say I was blessed with a concussion. From the moment it happened, it was a blessing. And some people thought I was crazy saying that. But in all honesty, I'm a firm believer that when things happen, they're not happening to us, they're happening for us. So it's kind of like, what am I supposed to be learning right now in this moment?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's an opportunity for growth. And I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I love that. I love that. And so this has definitely allowed you to slow down. Surrender. Hello.
Yeah.
Talk about surrender. So what are some new epiphanies that you've had around this?
The first thing that I got because as soon as I hit the ground, so what happened was I got hit in the face by a horse, long story short, and ended up on my backside. As soon as I hit the ground and was looking up at the sky, I said, okay, universe, what am I supposed to be learning right now? Like, never mind what just happened. What am I supposed to be learning right now? And, in days to come after that, what really was a strong message for me was this whole give and receive balance, or should I say imbalance, that I was living, right? It's something that we know all the time. Sometimes we need something like a smack in the face, literally, to listen to that message, right?
Yes.
But literally. And so the message was, listen, you are such a healer. You are such
Mhm.
just a giving person. And I say that as humbly as I can say it, but I'm always, as a healer, I yearn to make sure that everybody feels their very best. And I'm always, as a mother and as a wife and as, all of these things, if you need me, I'm there. If you need me, I'm there. If you need me, I'm there, which I would never complain about. But the message really was, how much of that giving out are you giving to yourself? How much of that how well of a receiver are you being as much as you are a giver? And, I am a believer that the ebbs and flow of the give and receive law that this universe holds, because it's a law whether we like it or not. When we are not good receivers, we're actually blocking ourselves from bringing in abundance.
Love that.
So I was realizing where my message was. I was feeling it very strongly. And I will say that I'm starting to receive more graciously, without feeling guilty, without feeling bad about it, with just being excited about how much more I can give, because I'm filling up my tank too. So if I can say there was a big message from the concussion, that was probably the strongest message that I got from it all.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Yes. Good. And you're a very heart-centered, very giving person. And so I can understand you're super great at giving. And those that are super great at giving, in the nicest term possible, suck at receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that you've had the opportunity to receive now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a preacher of the whole, it's just an energy exchange. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything more than that, right? It's okay to be grateful, and that's it. You don't need to give something back, or, feel like you're putting people out when half the time they're offering and we're feeling like we got to say, no, it's okay, right?
Mhm.
So whatever it may be, whether it's receiving a compliment graciously or whether it's receiving, anything, it doesn't have to be a money exchange or someone breaking their back to do something for me. It can be something so simple. And sometimes we take even those little things for granted, right?
Oh, I agree.
So, yeah.
I love that. And so, working the sisterhood for you, I can't believe it was during your first event. Oh gosh,
I know.
nothing like bringing down the thunder for you.
Yeah.
So what are some of the events that you have planned over the next year or so with the sisterhood?
So we're going to be holding two main big events for the year, with just little with COVID now, it's a little bit difficult, obviously, with the restrictions. But hopefully, once that's lifted by next year, okay, we're just going to put that out there in the universe. Um, the big vision is, so the first event that we did, we had workshops, we had speakers, we had vendors. So we had a little bit of everything. We had intimate workshops where people can get together for certain things, whether it's learn more about the chakras, make some malas, do some yoni activation, goddess energy work, things like this. And then we had speakers talking about just different topics, manifesting, tapping into your intuition, all of the things that we love. And then, of course, the vendors of healers and psychics and people that just would make their own amazing, beautiful creations of, salts or oils or whatever it may be. And it was just good sister time to get everybody together and build community and, meet like-minded people. So it's going to be a lot of the same. So a lot of that with a lot of different, we want to be able to change out the speakers and the workshops at each event, but really, just the whole sisterhood vibe. But then the little events will be different things like, moon circles or fairy garden making, like different things just to get sisters together and community together.
I love that. And you are
Yeah.
located where? Because the girls in California can't come quite easily to come to see you.
Wow, bring me over there. I'd love to go over there and do some stuff. Get me out of this winter.
There you go. Yes.
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta. Yes.
Good. Yeah.
Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
There we go. And so I want to talk about goddess energy because you brought it up, and that is exactly how I felt with you when I first met you. And what's interesting is I heard about you first, and then they're like, yeah, Anne Marie's over there, and I'm like, where? And then I didn't actually see you, but I could feel her energy. And you guys, it was palpable. It's just this beautiful, flowy, very feminine energy, and that you still have to this day, and I love it. So how do you teach others to embody femininity and goddess energy?
You know what? I feel like when it comes to that kind of thing, to really embody it is to really give yourself an opportunity to, what does embodiment mean? Like, what does that actually mean? We say the word, but we don't actually embody half the things that we say we want to embody, right?
Mm-hmm, true.
So that being said, meditation, I feel like meditation is always such a great tool for anything we need.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is tapping into our goddess energy and understanding that we are powerful co-creators of this lifetime, that we are magical. Magic is real. It is not something that is just made up in a fairy tale. And in order to feel that energy, meditation is just one tool that I love to teach that can get you centered and grounded in that space and to really embody that feeling rather than bringing it from thought form to like in your physical being form. Feeling that energy is, I think, one of the best ways to tap into that. And really, because if we don't feel something, it's hard to believe it, right?
Yes, wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, maybe we'll start with an affirmation and start telling yourself every day, whether you think you're full of SHIT or you actually believe it, right? Like if we tell ourselves enough times that I'm a goddess and I'm powerful and I'm magical, I might feel like I'm full of that, stuff. Or eventually when we say it enough times, one day you just wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel that now, right? So that's kind of part of it too. There's so many tools. It's about our conscious awareness to what kind of effort we're giving that as well, right? And having the conscious awareness if we're speaking into that energy or if we are speaking the opposite. We have such a habit of like negative self-talk a lot of times, right? Mm-hmm. So that's part of it too, is really bringing your awareness to it, I guess, more so. Like how many women really think about, oh yeah, I am a goddess, I am divine, I am, all of these things. How many times do we say that to ourselves or even think about that?
That people don't. They don't.
Yeah.
I run goddess retreats and they're going, well, I'm not really a goddess. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You have goddess power. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you just embody it. Like for those of you that are just listening in, I can't explain enough. You have to just experience Anne Marie just to know and be in your presence. And hopefully you can get a little bit of it here, but just being in your presence is just, it's easy to settle into the feminine. You are what is truly a truly feminine, divine goddess for sure.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Love that. Hey, so are you open to doing a couple of readings for us today?
Yeah, for sure.
And just to let everybody at home know, what I do is when I invite somebody onto the podcast, I will always say, hey, if you're open to doing a couple of readings, here is the first names or of 3 or 4 people. And these, in order to get a reading, you have to be on my inner circle. And, and so you get treated like royalty in my inner circle. And so there's 4 names that I have sent to Anne-Marie prior to this. So I'm going to start with the first one. First one is Anthony.
Anthony. So it's funny because I think I got these names from you like the first email. This was a month ago and we set this up. Totally forgot about it. Didn't even, I thought I was supposed to do this ahead of time. Submitted them this morning. So this morning, actually, I was meditating on these names, just really tapping into their energy. Anthony, I was feeling like was either he's going through a spiritual awakening, he's gone through one, he's in the process. I feel like whether he has gone through one or it's just starting now, this is something that is heightening, if you will. He's tapping a little bit more into that space. And I just I keep getting I keep hearing this message of he needs to put himself out there more. He needs to share everything that he is taking in and learning. And I feel like there is this desire to do that, but there's this question of like, how do I do that without feeling like I'm, imposter syndrome of I'm not really the person that should be doing this, or maybe I'm not as good as someone else that I, watch. But the message is release, surrender. That message again of release and surrender and just take the leap of faith in that direction. So that's what I've got for Anthony.
I love that. That's perfect. He is going through something spiritual for sure. I love that. Good.
Awesome.
Ooh. How about Miss Stacy?
Stacy. What's really interesting about Stacy's energy is, as we were actually talking about earlier, with this whole give and receive and balance, I feel like Stacy also needs to hear that same message.
Yes.
About the give and receive, and about, I feel like she has a big heart. I feel like she is a healer, whether she is consciously a healer or she just has this healing energy around her, a nurturer. I don't know if she's a Cancer or not, but
nope, she's not.
No. Okay.
I know that.
Yeah. But I'm just getting the message if she needs to also hear the same message that I needed to hear. And please don't get hit by a horse in the face. Please hear it from me that the give and receive balance is so important, and you don't need to feel guilty or bad or not worthy, maybe, whether that's a conscious, I'm just throwing words out there. Might not necessarily be those specific words, but that's specific energy. And just knowing that when we do not receive graciously and openly without feeling any guilt of needing to do something in return, that we're blocking our own, like I said, the abundance flowing in for us. So, and then also with Stacy, there was this energy of a collaboration. I'm not sure if she's looking at doing something with somebody. I don't know if that's something that's happening now or if that's something that is to come, but just to pay attention to that too.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, she's always up for collabing, so I get that. That would make sense to me. How about Angel?
Angel's energy, I feel like she is so intuitive herself, but she doesn't give herself enough credit. Mm-hmm. She kind of loves to watch all these other people do their thing, and it's almost like it gives her, let's talk about that imposter syndrome that I was talking about earlier. Almost feels like, oh, I'm not as good as this person yet, or I'm not as good as that person yet. And so she's discounting her own innate gifts. So I'm here to say, stop that right now. Believe in yourself. Let go. Recognize that energy that you are feeding that, and change and shift that into the excitement, that empowerment, that goddess energy, because you are very, very intuitive. And to not underestimate that, because it's what's been holding you back actually a lot more than where you could be if you would just let that go, is what I'm getting for her.
Good. I love that. Yes, she is very intuitive. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. How about Billy Joe?
Billy Joe, I feel like despite the craziness of this world right now, I feel like she's in a really good space, and it's been giving her the time she needs to kind of hustle her butt and do the things she's been wanting to either do or obtain or whatever it may be. I kind of feel like she's just in this good energy of manifesting the things that she wants. And I feel like she's also someone that is very inspiring and very I see people looking up to her, and just with her wisdom, I feel like she's a very wise soul as well, and just has so much wisdom to share. So she's an inspiration just in the energy she gives off. I feel like she's super high vibe too.
She definitely is. She's actually my sister, so I'm totally calling her out. She'll be okay with that.
Oh,
So yes, she is. She goes 100 miles a minute for sure. So I love that. And she is in such a super great place right now. So
that's awesome. Well, I'm
she'll
glad
be,
to hear
she'll be excited to hear that one.
it.
And she's very intuitive as well. So that's very good.
Yeah,
Love that. Love that. So for you, what's your steps ahead? What does it look like for you? More of the sisterhood, more what is there something you could share with us that is, futuristic, that's not there yet but might be coming? Or what do you got on
absolutely.
tap?
Like your intuitive mind just knows something is up my
Yeah.
sleeve, right? Well, aside from the sisterhood, as you know, I teach a lot of things. I also offer those different services of Reiki, intuition, intuitive guidance, mediumship. And I want to do a rebrand actually. So I'm hoping by 2021, I have it all sorted and figured out exactly what that'll look like. But I'm looking at kind of doing like a mentorship coaching sort of program where instead of these one-off appointments with my clients where they get a little bit of me whenever, it's a little bit more structured, it's a little bit more target based, I guess, maybe, if
Yeah.
you will, and just depending on what it is that they want in their life that they want to shift or expand on or whatever it may be. So just to give you a little bit of what's to come, that is going to be something around that scope.
Love that. I knew there was something in there.
Yeah.
There had to be. Had to be. I love it. So, Anne Marie, how can they get a hold of you? What does that look like for now, before the rebranding? What does that look like?
So to get a hold of me, you can go to my website. It is just annemarieevans.com, Anne with an E, no hyphen, just straight annemarieevans.com. The kulasisterhood.com is also the other website you can reach me at. Kula spelled Kula, which means tribe, clan, family, so community.
In what language does that mean? What's that one?
Sanskrit.
Cool. Okay, so for those people that don't know what that is, can you share what that is for them?
Sanskrit?
Mm-hmm.
It's another language, if you will, from India. It's a lot of people will associate it with yoga.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you know the yoga terms for the different poses and different things like that, that is pretty much Sanskrit as well. So
Good. Yeah, because you're going to get all walks of life here. So I always want to share how we talk is not how everybody talks. And,
yes.
there's lots of people that go, so what's a medium? Exactly, in between small and a large, or no, I talk to dead people.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Henry, I think that you and I should definitely do something together and do a collab together if you're open to that.
Yes. I always love collaborating. I feel like it's so important. It's another way of supporting, right? It is exactly in line with the Kula Sisterhood, what that's all about. And so anytime anyone wants to collab with me, I'm open to those too. So you can reach out to me that way as well.
I love that. Yeah, so you guys heard
Yeah.
her. She'll collab with everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Spirit says yes. Spirit says yes with you, though, for sure. 100%.
I love it. I would love to do that. And I'd also love to have you back on the show as well, as you endeavor further and further into the sisterhood, as well as your next ventures as well. So if you're open to that, I'd love to have you back on the show too.
I would love that. I'd be honored.
Perfect. All right, you guys, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much again, Anne Marie. It has been such a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, honey.